everyone, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, this is my first time here. My name is Zara and I am a pro makeup artist for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. Today I'm going to be doing a very simple, natural, everyday look. And I'm going to do it step by step so you guys can follow as well using all Bobbi Brown products. If this is something that you like the sound of, keep watching. Okay, so to start off my natural makeup, I'm going to go in with the Primer Plus setting spray. I've already prepped my skin with my skincare. I started with the hydrating water fresh cream just to give lots of moisture into my skin to prep it before I put any foundation. So the Primer Plus 3-in-1 setting spray, this is just going to be a little bit more moisture. I just love it before and after makeup. What it does is it just helps to give moisture to the skin, and it also helps to set the makeup so it stays on for a little bit longer. But my favorite thing about it is it stops that sort of like powdery cakey look. So I'm gonna go with my under eyes first, and I'm gonna be using a corrector. So all of us know what a concealer is. It helps to conceal any blemishes, any darkness in the eyes, but the corrector specifically helps to correct any depth underneath the eyes. So if you find that you have a lot of darkness, like myself, I have a little bit of darkness underneath my eyes, or if you've got like a darker pigmentation from any blemishes, this is going to be a perfect product just to cut through any depth. So I'm going to go in with my full coverage touch-up brush. This is a great brush to use as it really packs on the product without it looking too heavy. So the color that I'm using is light to medium peach. So I like to always start just by patting and bouncing the brush onto my eye. What this does is it really sort of like holds the coverage onto the eye, and then I'll start sweeping my brush through just to blend it out a little bit more. But already look at the difference between this eye and that eye. Can you see how much more brighter and lifted it is? And then I'm just going to use my finger just to melt the product down and just tap that in. So what I see a lot of people doing when they apply concealers or correctors is they apply it on and then they take the finger and they start sweeping it away. So you don't want to do that, because what you're doing is you're getting all the product where you've placed it and you're pushing it away to the areas that you don't need it. Now again, if you do have any pigmentation in particular, so I have a little bit just here, just from my blemishes, they tend to go a little bit more of a darker pigment. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that corrector with the same brush, and I'm just going to pat that on top of any of my pigmentation and blemishes. So I'm going to do two different concealers. So the first one is my Serum concealer. Now the Serum concealer is going to give you a slightly lighter coverage to the skin, whereas when you use the Instant Full Cover Concealer, this is the one that I use mainly if I want to really cover up any areas like pigmentation or blemishes. So I'm going to be using the Serum Concealer just in little areas of my face. So we're going to go over the corrector first. So I'm going to start just by doing a few little stripes underneath my eyes, and then I'm going to take it down my nose, just along my lip. I like to just define my lip a little bit more, and mine is in the color Honey. Okay, and then just around my nose. So these are all the areas that generally I maybe tend to get a little bit more red. And then I'm going to go in just with my sponge and blend it and pat it all out. By all means, if you want a slightly fuller looking coverage, you can use a brush to apply it on. Once you've got that all over finished, as you can see, I didn't put any foundation or concealer on my forehead. The reason being is because generally the forehead is not an area that we tend to get a lot of pigmentation or any real concerns like redness, etc. So what I find with the forehead, I always say that we talk with our forehead. We're very expressive with it. So I find that when I put foundation around the area, the foundation actually tends to sit in my expression lines and then make me look like I look dry or like I have fine lines, but actually it's just sitting around that area. So now in terms of covering up a blemish, this is where I'm going to go into my Instant Full Cover Concealer. And I actually don't like taking it from the wand when you're covering up a blemish. The reason being is because you almost put too much product on that area. So I am just going to take a small amount of it and I'm going to do a really thin layer onto my hand, just like this. And then I'm going to go back into the full coverage touch-up brush, pick up a small amount, and then I'm going to spot correct all of those areas. So I'm just going to start to bounce a little bit of the concealer on top of any blemishes. Just take your time to conceal these little areas. So foundation done. I'm now going to go into a little bit of powder, but powder is really minimal. I think a lot of us tend to really over powder our skin. If you're trying to create a slightly more fresher, natural finish, powder is going to really make it look dry and cakey. So it is so essential to use. However, you just want to use a small amount. So I'm going to go in with the color Pale Yellow. Yes, I know it looks really light, but it is a really finely milled powder, so you find that it doesn't sit onto the skin, and all it will do is just slightly brighten up my skin. So I'm using our eye blender brush, and I love using a really small brush when it comes to powdering the skin because it just stops me, again, like I said, from over powdering. If you are powdering over a blemish, make sure that you are doing this sort of bouncing motion onto the skin. That's really important because it stops you from moving the product about. A trick that I love is actually going into highlighters first before I do my bronzer and my blusher. I love really letting my highlighters look like they are sitting within my skin rather than sitting on top. With the Warm Glow highlighter, I'm just going to pop it on the high points of my face. So I'm going to do a little bit on the tip of my nose, right onto the bridge. And these are the areas that is going to make your skin look super healthy, glowing, lit from within. And I like to almost do like a little pout when I'm putting it onto my Cupid's bow. What that does is it protrudes the lip, and then it allows you to get the highlighter where you need it rather than just having a highlighter mustache. And then I'm going to sweep it through any areas, sort of like up onto the cheekbones, the highest point just above the brow. So the next one I'm going to go into is Sunset Glow highlighter. This is my all-time favorite. I use this all the time, and it's more of a pink finish to it. I'm going to use a bigger brush because I'm going to do it right on the apples of my cheek, almost like a pre-blusher. You're going to smile, and then you're going to pop it right onto the apples of the cheeks. Look how gorgeous that glow is. Bronzer. So I love using cream products. I find especially with a bronzer, a cream bronzer is really beautiful because it almost just gives you that, it looks like you genuinely have tanned in the sun. So I'm going to go for our foundation stick in the color Cool Almond. And I find that actually I use this color on so many people, whether you're really fair, medium skin tone, or deeper. This is really beautiful as a gorgeous contour. So I like working with creams from my hand, and I'm going to go in with our precise blending brush. This is a nice sort of angled brush, so you can really get into all the contours of the face. So I'm just going to pat the brush right onto the Cool Almond foundation stick, and then I'm going to start to warm it up onto my forehead first, and then as I get to the cheeks, I like to kind of pull my cheek that way and then just bounce it right on top of the cheekbone, and then take it right down onto the jawline, onto the chin, a little touch onto the neck as well, because this is an area that we generally tend to not get so much color when we're in the sun. So make sure you just take that a little bit down your neck too. Blusher, and this color is Pale Pink. This is our Pot Rouge. Really beautiful, super bright looking pink, but actually it's not as bright as you may think. Again, you can build it up so it is that bright, but I like to just kind of pat my brush into it, push it onto my hand so you don't get too much product, and then you're just going to smile and get that right onto the apple of the cheek. And I am using our angled face brush. And then I like to finish my face just by doing a spritz of the Primer Plus setting spray. I just find that this makes everything look really seamless on the skin. So next up, we're going to go into eye makeup. I'm going to start off with a primer base onto my eyes first of all, because I'm going to be using powdered eyeshadows and sparkles, so I really want them to stay on really well. And I love that our long wear eye base actually has a tint in them, so it almost gives you that really clean base to work on. This is in the color medium. So just a little swipe right across my lid, just pat right onto the eye until it blends in seamlessly. So as you can see, it really just helps to brighten up the eyelids really well. So now I'm going to go in with my brows. I'm going to take our brow definer and groomer brush. I'm going to use the groomer side just to comb up the hairs. With the definer brush, I'm going to go in with the color Saddle first. And basically all I'm going to do is fill in tiny little gaps in my brow, little strokes, so it almost gives that like hair-like finish. I'm going to take a tiny bit through the front of the brow as well. And the key thing to do with your brows is always follow how the hairs are growing. So if the hairs are growing upwards, you want to go upwards with your brush. If they're growing to the side, you want to go sideways with the brush. See the difference that it makes already. It just gives it a little bit more definition, but nothing too over the top. And brows are done. Now we're going to finish off the look with lips. I'm going to go in with my all-time favorite lip liner. I use this for every lipstick, I swear, even if I'm wearing like a brighter color. So this is Coco lip liner, and I'm going to start with that first. So I like to start with my bottom lip, right in the middle, and then just go from corner to corner. And I think the really important thing when doing lip liner is make sure your liner is sharp, so you get a nice defined lip. And when I go to the top, I like to actually just draw a line right through the middle, just gives me a bit of a guideline. And then I like to take it from the corner of the lip and then pull it into the center. As you get to the cupid's bow, I'm just gonna softly follow my natural line. And then the lipstick I'm gonna go into is again my everyday lip color, which is Bobbi Nourishing Lip Color. It's super hydrating. And it's got this like pretty sort of like almost like cool brown color. Just like that. Alright, so to finish off this makeup, again for the third time, second time, third time. For the third time, I'm going to go in with the Primer Plus Hydrating 3-in-1 Setting Spray, and this is just going to finish my makeup off. It's going to give me that lovely dewiness, no cakiness at all, and you can see you can go all over without the makeup coming off. Subscribe, like, comment below. So this is the final finished look of my natural. I wonder if I've got lipstick in my teeth before I do that. Sexy. So this is my final natural everyday look. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned from it. If you haven't already, do subscribe below. Give me a thumbs up, comment. I'd love to see what your thoughts are on this look, and what your natural daytime look is. And yes, thanks for joining, and I will see you on my next one. Bye.